Good evening. I am Father Smoke, and welcome to the Void. The darkness of Bell Island goes deeper than the physical. Located off of the Avalon Peninsula of Newfoundland in Canada, the island is known for its mind-bending iron ore mines that reach deep into the Earth's womb, extending its tendrils into the real flesh and blood of those who once lived. Yet holding still, its chains are fading into a realm which forever pours itself into a past of suffering and loss. Bell Island's first visceral stains of humanity began in the early to mid-18th century, when Gregory Normore and other European settlers attempted to tame the land by farming and fishing its landscape. Over time, the settlers began to expand their rotting fingernails into the island's cold intestines, finding a great iron ore source beneath their decaying feet. The island's economy then expanded exponentially in the 1890s, with the iron ore mines officially opening, spawning a vast community of labor, wealth, and most importantly, hardship and its begging suffering, creating one of the most vast submarine mining systems in the world, extending a void into the seabed of Conception Bay. Most of the island's ore was then transported to Australia and Nova Scotia, where the island's insides were processed and distributed. But make no mistake, when mankind enters into the swollen belly of the earth and rips its contents from within, like an unwilling abortion, unpleasant circumstances are fated to arise. From 1895 to 1966, during the iron mine's lifespan, 106 deaths occurred, not to mention the life-altering incidents which maimed the miners through relentless disfiguration of their bodies and sometimes their minds, with many having long-lasting ailments such as lung disease, only for the workers to be insulted even more by losing arms, legs, and hands, sometimes all appendages, rendering the men useless and forsaken during an unforgiving time. As the mines continued miles into the earth, so did the atrocities and virulent sins professed themselves in its victimized workforce. Child labor was a normal facet of the mine's workforce. Boys as young as 10 and the elderly as old as 80 were forced to work 10 to 12-hour shifts, 6 days a week, for a meager 5 cents an hour, perhaps only seeing the sunlight 1 day a week on Sunday. Bathroom facilities were non-existent, and so were any sanitary conditions to eat food, as waste, work, and food were interchangeable in the fecal-stained mines and conveyor belts. Breaks and lunches were non-existent, as the light they rarely glimpsed. With all of the unrelenting history of Bell Island and its mines coated in anguish, there's speculation for many an individual that the mines are rivers of ailing, rotting souls, and from that river, the fogs emanating, holding their revenants and otherworldly anchors within its static structure. Dreadful, disembodied whispers haunt the depths The pictures of the dead watch in the corner, placing their judgment on those who will soon join them. The mind continues to remind all of us who visit or near its entrance that suffering is here, like whiskey left in a glass overnight, murky and unwelcomed. We've all had that feeling, a cold, unforgiving moment, moments that lend themselves to the unwanted advancement of unforgiving thoughts, intrusive, stabbing, and sometimes starving themselves inside of you, holding you still, never leaving you, even though you pry those scabbing memories away from yourself, feeling shame in the moment for having a certain thought rush back into you. Disturbed, you're the one who created that wraith, a memory to claw its way back into you, forever reminding you that even though you may pass on one day, those whom you've haunted in that memory may forever remember the old wound you once created. Much like old memories, which ebb and flow in the old noise of our being, those cold static walls find themselves in the disheveled voices of the dead, the wraiths rotting in a blanket of old skin. The White Revenant of Bell Island is one such unwell memory, entering the mindscape of fear, and those who venture into the void of the Bell Island mines. In the late 1800s, and for the most part of the early 1900s, running water in the Bell Island mines was non-existent, and those who needed water for survival and/or work purposes would have to venture up from the mines and collect water from the well with buckets that laid in close proximity. One day, as the miners slowly labored their way to the well, they noticed a young woman dressed in all white, lingering atop of the icy water, dead in the mirror of her own horror, murdered, left to rot in the uncaring hands of her murderer. Imagine the torment, the pain never exorcised, the exact moment she is left to experience her own ending, looking into the eyes of the one who is murdering her. Was it her lover, or the one she most despised, or maybe a random? Put yourself in that emotional void, your last memory, that drenched human moment we all meet. Death. I imagine it's much in the same. Words are a meaningless expression to the torment any murder victim experiences, the unwant of every instant. Perhaps it's that instant death draws from beneath the loss, a haunting, a revenant unresolved, the intrusive thoughts made flesh, if for an instant we remind ourselves we are fading into a decaying ether, leaving only murmurs to scream. It's all boring, isn't it? Death. We revel in the dark stories, and understanding we are safe, a moment of rest just left aside, a revenant. I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to anyone who has taken time out of their lives to listen to my work. It's deeply humbling, and I can't thank you enough. Again, thank you. I hope everyone rests well in the darkness, and please take care.